Welcome back, everyone, to a new episode of SORARE's Value Hunting. We are going to take a look at Game Week 7. I know still a few days to go before it locks, but I want to start diving into some of the news that we've seen throughout the NBA this week and maybe start seeing if there are deals to be had before Friday comes. Before we get into that, though, if you are new to SORARE, go ahead, take a look at the link in our show notes. By signing up today, you'll get 20 free common cards. You can start playing for free. Then if you buy 5 cards off of the market or in one of the auction formats, you'll get a 6th one free. So definitely take a look at that. But before we do any of this, SORARE did have an announcement today where they have introduced these new daily drops. So all managers can claim a new common card every 24 hours up to a total of 14 cards. So I'm going to go over here to SORARE and see that's the first thing that popped up for me. We get the daily drop right here, get a free card. So let's do this right now. Ooh, Kem Birch, Rudy Gay, Nathan Knight, Moses Brown, Jeff Downton Abbey Jr. This is a yikesies. These ones aren't like super fun. I'm gonna go here with Kem Birch just because he has the lowest cap, but I feel like he could get some run. Rudy Gay, not super interested in. Moses Brown, whatever. So we're gonna go Kem Birch. Kem Birch, welcome aboard, baby. Welcome aboard. Nice to have a new common. But for today, as we start to dive into the slate for this weekend, we're going to be using momentumlabs.app. So there'll be a link for that if you want to follow along. If you sign up for one of their memberships, you'll get an opportunity to use the projections and the spreadsheets that we're going to be using as we kind of take a look at the slate. But I'm ready. I'm ready to dive in. It's been a fun basketball week so far. We had an insane amount of games that first day of the week and then nothing Tuesday. Excited to get back to some basketball. So I'm going to pull up the projections here. And again, these are projections as of right now, right? So stuff can change. Anything that we highlight today could be adjusted based on some injury news or anything like that, right? But what we are going to do, as we do in value hunting, we're going to take a look at some of these low caps. We're going to go 15 and under today, right? Of course, we know Tyler Hero, Scotty Barnes, Josh Giddey, right? These guys are good, but let's stay in this 15 range. See if there's anything that pops that makes it a little bit easier for us to build our lineups. One guy, actually, before we even sort, one guy that I would like to take a look at is Goodwin from the Wizards. So Jordan Goodwin here, right now, you can see he has a cap of 10. So he's not gauging to be like an incredible play, but one thing that we should pay attention to is this injury news of Bradley Beal. So Bradley Beal entered health and safety protocols. I'm not sure when he's scheduled to be back, but we saw him absolutely pop off on Monday night in that game. He played basically the backup point guard role, filled up the stat sheet quite a bit. So Goodwin is someone that we should pay attention to. I actually thought he was going to be a little bit darker green, but that must be because they are projecting for Bradley Beal to be back soon. So anyways, let's go back up to this 15 range. And here we go. The first guy that pops up is Norman Powell. I imagine Norman Powell, honestly, has been a little disappointing for the Clippers this year. He doesn't get me as excited. We'll take a look at what his price is currently. And when we do this, we'll be looking at manager sales, not auctions, which you should always check both of them. And we're just going to focus on limited because I'm a poor boy. But I figured that would be the best way to start. But of course, they have cards for limited and rare. So right now you can get him. Let's see what his low ask is because that's ending soon. 670. So that's honestly not a terrible deal for a cap of 15. You're seeing he's projecting a little bit. He's got a projection of 21 fantasy points or so rare points with a cap of 15. We don't hate that. However, I feel like we can find maybe some sexier deals if we look a little bit lower here, try to save a little bit more on cap. But I will say the $6 price point's kind of nice. We have seen Norman Powell come off the bench and just absolutely dominate, score a lot. He's a point getter. He just hasn't done it that so much this year, but with Kawhi out, he's still going to have that opportunity. So somebody keep in mind. Here we go. Torrey Craig, Nembhard, Denny Avdia are all the ones that are popping. I want to talk about Torrey Craig here for a second. So Cam Johnson is going to be out for a while. So Craig is going to continue to get run. I'm going to stop sharing screen for a second just to pull up a recent box score of the Suns because I want to check what happened here in this Phoenix game. The last time Phoenix played, it was against the Philadelphia 76ers in a loss. They lost 100-88. But what was important was Chris Paul went down with a little bit of an injury. I think we're still waiting for the severity and what that was. We'll get a better feel. I'm sure they'll have another game soon. But if we scroll down here to Suns and 76ers, let's look at the box score. I just want to see minutes. So Torrey Craig got the start, played 23. You can see Mikal Bridges played 44 minutes. So that is truly sometimes, right, when somebody goes out, we think about, okay, what kind of cheap value does this open up? But sometimes what it really does is it just boosts the guys that are already pretty good. So Mikal Bridges is someone that can just get exercise out there. He might just run around for a long period of time. But that minutes, man, 44 minutes is pretty impressive. We also saw this with Devin Booker, who filed in 43. Devin Booker, obviously a better fantasy point producer. But yeah, Bridges with 15 and 5. Usually he can, racked up a block. Usually he's a steals and blocks guy. And then there you go, Devin Booker at 28. But let's look at the bench here. So Cam Payne and Damian Lee were the true beneficiaries from this injury, right? So Cam Payne, who also is coming back from an injury, played 28 minutes and will put up 14 and 5. And Damian Lee with 26 points. I'm sorry, 10 points, 10 points in 26 minutes. So Damian Lee and Cam Payne are going to be and Torrey Craig are the guys that stand out to me the most. Torrey Craig, honestly, and Damian Lee, both are fine plays without the Chris Paul news because of Cam Johnson's injury. Chris Paul, though, we should pay attention to. Let's actually see. We'll go back to Torrey Craig, but let's see how Cam Payne is grading out as a play right now. He has a cap of 13, and there he's projecting for 15.9 points. So I wonder if that means Chris Paul is going to be back sooner rather than later, but something to pay attention to. But Damian Lee, on the other hand, has a cap of 11. You can see that dark green right there of 1.62. So Damian Lee is going to grade out to be a pretty good play. So I think monitoring that sun situation would be very beneficial as we get closer. Speaking of getting closer, I should remind the people, we do a live before lock show on Mondays at 5:30 Eastern and Fridays at 5:30 Eastern. And the plan there is to break down the late injury news coming in for the NBA slate and figuring out what our best deals are and the best lineups are before the lineups lock. So Mondays and Fridays at 5:30 Eastern, make sure you check that out. We'll also have access to the spreadsheets then. So take a look. All right, let's go back up to Torrey Craig and keep working our way down. I'm not really as interested in Denny or Andrew Nembhard, to be honest. That doesn't move the needle too much for me. Jalen Williams from OKC starting to pop again. We've looked at him a couple of times now. He's got a cap of 13, is projecting for 20. So let's take a look at Jalen Williams. He is someone we owned, or by we, I mean me, owned for a little bit. No longer, though. I had flipped him when he was a cap of 4 because he was really popping. Let's see what Jalen Williams is doing here. There you go. Wow. Low ask of 482. So again, for a cap of 13, although I think it's, cap of 13, $4. That, to me, that's grading out as a better play than Norman Powell, right? Again, these are just projections, but Norman Powell had a cap of 15 and projecting to score like 0.5 more fantasy points. So Jalen Williams of Oklahoma City seems interesting. Here's Cam Payne. We already talked about him, but we should probably check his price point. Because Cam Payne, we've seen it, right? When Chris Paul is out, we've seen Cam Payne flash double-double upside. He can rack up assists pretty quickly. Even though his jumper looks broke, he can still dominate there with fantasy points. And you get a low ask of 12. It jumps up to 17 pretty quickly and then up to 23 pretty quickly. So if Cam Payne is someone you're targeting, I imagine as people get ready for game week 7, after they consume this content, we might see that price go up a little bit. That is Cam Payne. Let's keep scrolling. Aaron Nesmith, we've highlighted him before in recent shows from the Pacers. Yes, he does get a little bit of boost, cap of 12. He's still a little dinged up. That might be more of a wait and see approach. But now I'm excited to talk about Terrence Mann. And you ask why, Mike? Well, he's going to be the direct beneficiary from the rest of Kawhi Leonard, but also we're seeing John Wall being slowed. I'm not sure what John Wall's current status is, but John Wall's been a little dinged up. Reggie Jackson's been playing through some pain. Luke Kennard as well. We saw Terrence Mann in his most recent game here. We'll go back over to the box score. They played, what was that? The nightcap against the Cleveland Cavaliers, I think, where they went on a crazy run at the end of the game to beat the Cavs. I think by 2. Is it 99-97, something like that? 119-117. No, it wasn't even close. They did win by 2, though. So Terrence Mann, when we look at him over here, he played 30 minutes. So when we look at this, Kawhi was out and John Wall was out, but he still played 30 minutes in a starting role. He put up 16 points, 5 assists, 2 steals, and 4 rebounds for a solid fantasy production. I feel like his minutes are pretty stable. We saw Norman Powell down here too at 28 minutes, but Mann played way more than Kennard, way more than Batum. So especially if John Wall is going to miss time. But even if John Wall misses time, I still think we see him play in that 25-minute range. And with his cap where it is right now, which is what, an 11, that seems to be a solid play. I'm going to show you my lineup right now, just so you know that I'm pumping my bags. So I had Terrence Mann over here in my rare contest. I had a rare and a common, I think, for him. Yeah. So he put up 38 fantasy points in that first one. So I'm a big fan of what Terrence Mann is doing. The fan of the man. So he's someone I'm going to keep an eye on. Let's keep looking, though. Damian Lee, we already covered him. Edmund Sumner, I mean, so that we got to pay attention to the Kyrie news, right? He has missed, 3 games so far for the Nets, which means at minimum he's missing 2 more. The report came out yesterday that he had a conversation with Adam Silver. They shook hands and they're like, we should be better. Yeah. So who knows? Kyrie might be back in 5 games. He might be back in 50 games. But we should pay attention to that because 2 guys are going to continue to pop from that with him being out, and that is going to be Edmund Sumner. And then also let's stay with Brooklyn and look at Cammy Thomas, who we pumped, dude. We pumped the Cam Thomas train, and we were right for a little bit. So his cap's now up to 10. It's boosted up from 5 to 10. But listen, I thought with Ben Simmons coming back, it might hurt his minutes a little bit more. Maybe it was because of the Yuta injury. Yuta went down with a knock in the last game. We don't know how long he's going to be out, but he scored. He's continuing to be productive and playing like 20 minutes a game. That's plenty for that Nets team who plays offense and not defense. So Cam Thomas is interesting. Quentin Grimes, I don't know, guys. The Knicks seem to be just so weird. Like if it's not Brunson, if it's not Randall or Barrett or even Isaiah Hartenstein, then I'm not super interested, to be honest. I'm not. So I'm going to keep moving off that one. I'm more interested in Cam Thomas than Quentin Grimes. Killian Hayes has a real tough time finding the basket. I'm not going to talk about him. Josh Green, we should talk about a little bit. So Josh Green, let's go over to the Mavericks' most recent games. He's starting to find a little bit more playing time. I also think he's shooting like 70% from 3 right now. If we go to, let's look at this, this Nets game. They actually play the Magic tonight at a 5:30 start time, which is a little weird. But can we look at the box score here? So Josh Green for the Mavericks did not start, but he played 27 minutes off the bench and put 16, 5, and 2. Listen, let's take a look at on over here. But I think now might be the time to make a move on Josh Green, only because like this, he's only played these minutes a couple of times, and if he's going to continue doing that, there's a lot of greens in the league. If he's going to continue doing that, now's the time to make the move. And you can get him for $11. Wait, less than that? Less than that? We're going to buy it now. Let's buy it live. Hold on. I'm not going to show you my screen, but we're going to buy this Josh Green right here, right now. Because I like targeting that. I think something we're going to see from Dallas moving forward. Someone has to emerge as the option number 2. I know Spencer Dinwiddie's kind of that guy, and Christian Wood is kind of that guy. But they, with the way that they play, so much attention is going to be on Luka. Threes will be available. Threes will be available for someone. And if Josh Green's going to shoot 60% or whatever it is from 3, I think that is a pretty good deal. And bingo bango, we bought a Josh Green. Welcome home. All right, let's go back over here. Don't you love that, guys? This is why I don't do this show live, because I know you would be trying to steal my deals. Also because I do everything else live, and it's good to mix it up. It's good to mix those vibes, which an opportunity to promote some other stuff. We do an NBA morning show Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern, recapping last night's action, kind of looking around at So Rare, a little NBA Top Shot as well. So if you're new and finding this channel for the first time, subscribe. Come hang out. We also have a Discord. You can join the Discord. The conversation never stops. All right, let's find a couple more spots to pick at. Let's see who's popping the most here. Cam Thomas, my favorite in this 10 cap section. In the 9, we've got Dwight Powell. I've talked about Dwight Powell, I think, the last show. He scares the shit out of me, but he's still fine. Atlanta, there's 2 guys I want to talk about in Atlanta. Jalen Johnson and AJ Griffin right there below him. AJ Griffin's not grading out as a super great play yet. However, he's someone I'd pay attention to. He got a lot of run in what was wildly a blowout against the Milwaukee Bucks last week or on Monday night. And he looked pretty good. He piled in a bunch of points, but I think that's more of a wait and see approach. But if you're trying to stash someone now so that you're like, well, I'll have a low cap for him. I don't know. That's kind of intriguing. So let's look at Griffin first. Then we'll go to Jalen Johnson, his minutes seem a little bit more secured. So AJ Griffin, he's the rookie, right? He's got a cap of 9. I don't know. That's kind of nice. Jalen was the other one. Is it Jalen Johnson, right? Ooh, we're in all cap mode. He has a cap of 9 and $8. So again, reasonable, cheap-ish plays, right? And I think that's kind of the key. Like when it's a little bit low risk, obviously none of this is financial advice, but when it's a little bit low risk and you can take a shot at some of these guys, there's two ways, as Adam Sandler would say, there's two ways we win. But one of them being you get to play them for very cheap, right? You get to use that low cap. And then if it turns into a play because somebody got hurt or they really excel, like the Josh Green case, then all of a sudden you have an excellent play that allows you to play other guys. Also, there's a chance to flip it because now everyone else is going to be like, oh shit, we need Josh Green. So there's definitely some opportunities there. And that's why, I don't know, that's why I like taking shots on some of these cheaper guys instead of blowing the load on the expensive guys. All right, let's try to find somebody really low. Marjan Beauchamp, he's the young guy for Milwaukee. He's projecting to be a good play, but honestly, Middleton should be back soon, so I'm not as excited. Matisse Thybulle. Matisse Thybulle is definitely getting more minutes. He's really a boom bust guy because you need him to. He can't shoot for anything. But he does get a lot of steals and blocks, which is good. He's probably not going to turn the ball over a lot because he doesn't really dribble. Juan Toscano Anderson and Kuminga. More interested in Kuminga here. More interested in Kuminga. Like the Warriors seem broken right now, and they're definitely going to be tweaking their second unit. Their first unit, like their plus minus is wild, and then you bring in the bench guys and it's ugly. I could just see Kuminga's role evolving a little bit more. Isaac Okoro here at the cap of 4. It's fine. Let's see if there's anything else gross. Is Okoro the last one? Okoro was the last one. Anyways, those are our cheapies. Those are our cheapies that we wanted to take a look at as we start heading back into game week 7. I got to reiterate again, right? There's still a few days before we get to Friday, before we get to lock. We're definitely going to get some more injury news to pay attention to. So some of these projections can be adjusted, and there might be some guys that pop on Friday that didn't pop today. But that I think it's good to get a lay of the land before we like really dive in on Friday. As always, appreciate you guys being here. If you haven't signed up, use that link in the show notes. Get your 20 free commons, buy 5 things, get a 6 ones free. Makes us look good. Check out momentumlabs.app. That's where we go for all of our projections. And let me know in the comments who you're targeting for your cheapies to make game week 7 a winner.